Hi, Jason. Good afternoon.
Roasting.
How are you?
Hello.
Thank you. Thank you for coming to and joining us today in the Impact Revolution channel. We really appreciate your time. So, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. Today, it is a blizzard where I'm from in Utah, in the United States. We have 3 feet, almost 3 feet of snow on the ground right now.
Okay.
And I went running this morning in the snow, went running for about an hour and a half in the snow.
All right. You told me this before we started. I was curious. How do you run with a 3 feet of snow? Like, you have to go like this, or do you
Yeah,
have a
yeah, you're
special
not
foods or special boots?
you're not running fast,
Uh,
well, you're trying
uh-huh.
to, but you're sort of making a path and you're trying not to slip and fall down and I don't wear pants, I wear shorts. And so I have ice
Oh,
just stuck to my legs, stuck to the hair on my legs.
wow.
And I
Okay.
get ice and snow down my shoes. And it sucks for maybe 10 minutes. And then you get
Uh-huh.
used to it and you're moving around and it's just really mental. It's a mental toughness challenge.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Okay, that's good. That's good. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, Jason. So before we start in the actual questions, more business related and life lessons learned, I would like
Yeah.
to ask you a couple of questions that are a bit personal, just for the audience to know you a bit more. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
All
Absolutely.
right, cool. So the first one will be if you could wake up tomorrow, Jason, anywhere in the world, where it will be.
Oh gosh, my first reaction is I would wake up here in Utah with my family. I want to be
Okay.
where my family is. I like the cold. I don't mind it. Although
Uh-huh.
sometimes you want to get the heat, like you're talking about. Sometimes you want the cold. Sometimes I want the heat.
That's right.
If
Yeah.
if I were to go anywhere in the world to visit on vacation, um, I've been all over the world. I've been to every country except for Antarctica, and
All right.
maybe that's in my future. But the one place I've never been that I've always wanted to go is Israel. I've always wanted to go see Jerusalem
Nice.
and Israel and the Holy Land
Uh-huh.
and just experience that. That's a place I want to go see.
I'm also curious about Israel because of this sport I told to you about. They are the
Yeah,
world champions there, apparently.
really,
Yeah, they are very
they're the
good, Israel.
best.
Yeah,
Interesting.
football. So I'm sure you will see them playing in the beach if you go there.
Well, I feel like Brazil is going to be the world champion shortly. You guys
Yeah,
have the skill and the talent and the background and everything
yeah.
else.
Let's see. All right, great. And now I wanted to ask you the second question. If I ask you what was your happiest moment, Jason, in your life, what is the first memory that comes to your mind?
First, I was actually thinking about this morning.
Okay,
Um, Happiest
nice.
moments of my life. The first thing that pops in my mind is I've got two children. I've got a daughter and a son,
Uh-huh.
and I was older when my wife and I we started having kids. So I was
All
40
right.
years old when my
Okay.
daughter was born, and it was Saturday, March 11th, and it was a beautiful Saturday morning. It was like 75 degrees out. My wife went into labor early in the morning, about 7 o'clock. We drove to the hospital, and she wasn't in labor very long, maybe 6 hours or so, 7 hours. And
Uh-huh.
when my daughter was born, just seeing her and holding her, that was the best day, the happiest day of my life.
Oh, wow, cool. It has to be, yeah. Wow.
It
All
was
right.
amazing. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. I think I never experienced that yet. Okay, to be a dad. So yeah, I'm not sure if I will experience, but everybody who I interview, the dads always talk about their children.
It was, man, it's
So
special. I'm telling you, you're
I,
missing out. Yoshi, you got to get on that, man. You gotta get a wife.
yeah, I need to first find a wife, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
One
yeah,
step at a
thank you.
time.
Yeah, thank you, Jason, for sharing that. Now, I wanted to ask you now, a bit more, who you are, in terms that is not so modest, all right? So normally how I ask this question is that someone who really admires you and knows you very well, Jason, how will define who you are?
Ooh, that's a good question. You're asking me to be modest, to be humble, all that.
Not to be,
Uh,
not to be.
Not to be humble, right?
uh,
I would hope that someone says Jason is a true friend. He's a true and loyal friend. He's a guy
Okay.
that you can always count on.
Uh-huh.
He's a guy that if I was ever in real trouble, I knew he would be there for me to save me, to bail me out, to help me out, to have my back, to
Uh-huh.
have my six, as we say in the military. I hope that that's what my friends and people would say.
Uh-huh.
Um, I also hope people would say Jason is legitimate. He's legit. He's authentic. He's not
Uh-huh.
trying to be somebody he's not. He's real, you know.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Um, that sort of thing. We talk about values
I
a
love
lot,
it. Okay.
and for me, my values are determination,
Mm-hmm.
resourcefulness, and loyalty. And so that's, to me, that's who I am. That's what defines me. That's what I'm all about. So, if you give me a task, I'm going to see it through to the very end. I'm going to be determined to succeed, determined to win, no matter how many, hardships or obstacles are placed in front of me. I'm going to continue moving forward to try to get the job done.
Uh-huh.
And resourceful, for me, it's like, uh, you're not just, you don't have to give me a whole lot of information to get the job done. I'm going to figure out a way to do it. If I don't have all the information or all the equipment or all the tools or whatever, I'll figure it out. And I
Uh-huh.
love people who are like that. And then loyalty, like I said, I value loyalty at a high degree. And loyalty, it's not, doesn't really happen when times are good, when times are easy. Loyalty happens when it's the dark
That's right.
times, when times are hard.
Definitely.
That's when it's really forged. That's what loyalty is you prove yourself when times are tough.
Uh, that's where you know who are the true friends, right? And true
Yeah.
people in your life. Very good. Thank you so much. I have goosebumps, so I don't know how to call that.
That's good.
I wanted to ask you, about these things that define you. I thought that could be maybe, I don't know, you experienced that because of your extended military experience. Could be that something that could have influenced you, or because I'm always curious, about the discipline and determination and the hard work that the military people have been trained to, right? The mindset.
Oh yeah, no, that's a great question. So growing up, I played a lot of sports, and I think you learn a lot of these lessons in sports. Like no matter how
Uh,
many times you fall down, you get back up.
uh,
It's just because it's late in the game and the score is this, you don't give up hope. You just keep fighting until the very end. Like things like that growing up. But then when I joined the military, they instill a different type of confidence, different type of mindset in you, and they
uh,
make you memorize certain things. Like, for example, we have creeds, and there's one called the Ranger Creed. And the last paragraph, last stanza of the Ranger Creed that you have to memorize, we have
uh,
to recite it every single day, many times a day as we're going through training and so forth. It says, readily will I display the intestinal fortitude required to fight on to the Ranger objective and complete the mission, though I be the lone survivor. And that's the last paragraph. And when I learned that and recited it, it always like made me emotional a little bit. Like it really spoke
uh,
to me
uh,
because it wasn't just me saying this. This was every single person around me saying this. Like no matter what happens, if everything goes to hell and I'm the last guy here, I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to get the job done. I'm going to complete the mission. And when you know that everybody around you is of that same mindset, that's powerful. And so that always meant something to me. And then when we went through training and went to combat and went and did things and we proved that to ourselves, we have a stack of undeniable proof that we are who we say we are.
uh,
And that always meant a lot to me.
that's incredible. That's so good, because it's like the collective consciousness and collective kind of
Yeah.
power, right? And commitment that can go through many challenges. All right. What was, now that we're talking about challenges, what was the biggest challenge that you have faced as a group, with your, I don't know, you have a crew or in the military service?
Oh, in the military service. So I was in the special forces. So I was a Green Beret. So we were at the top of the top, the top tier
Okay.
um, unit. And my unit was, although we learned how to kick in doors, and be the first guys in the door, our unit, the Green Berets, we were trained to work with indigenous forces and train them and befriend them and build rapport and get to the point where they're kicking the doors in and we're following in behind them as advisors, as instructors, and that sort of thing. And so my second deployment, we were supposed to work with the Iraqi military unit that was there, and we found out that they were basically taken over by the bad guys, by Al Qaeda. So there's a lot of Al Qaeda operatives in this army, that were working, and so we realized we couldn't work with them. We needed somebody else, so we started working with the Peshmerga. They're the Kurdish military force, so they're from Kurdistan, which is also a part of Iraq. They're a different type of people, and so we brought them down into Iraq, and we worked with them, and we had them take over certain locations, and we worked with them for about a year. It was amazing.
Oh wow! Okay, wow.
Yeah.
This is like what we watch in the movies, but from a real person that has been there, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay, great, thank you. And now, all this experience that you had gotten from the military, right? Now you are sharing that, and you are teaching, and you are, let's say, putting this into practical places in the business environment, right? I lost you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a nonprofit called Warrior Rising, and we help veterans and their immediate family members start or accelerate their own businesses.
All right.
And we've been doing that for about 8 years now. And it's been a great time. So I want you guys to all say hi to my son. He's here.
I can't hear him say yes.
Yes, I'm sorry. He's been knocking on the door for a while. So here he is. Say hi, Jack. You're on the live podcast. He's gonna play some monster trucks with his mom now. See you in a little bit, buddy.
Cute.
Sorry about that. I apologize.
No problem. That's beautiful. Thank you. All right.
It's all right. So yeah, I got distracted there for a minute. So Warrior Rising, we really help military veterans and their immediate family members. So if you're a vet or a family member, a spouse, a father, a mother, husband, son, daughter, whatever, you have an idea on the back of a napkin to start a business, we'll help you out. If you want to start a franchise business, we'll help you out. If you already have a business, and you're kind of stuck, we'll help you out. If you want to buy an existing business, we'll help you out. And so a lot of nonprofits will say, you give a man a fish. We're like, hey, we're going to teach you how to fish. We're going to give you the education that you need. We're going to give you the networking, the mentorship. We're going to give you funding. We're going to give you money. We're going to give you access to investors and clients. We're going to give you free custom business suits and laptops and websites and search engine optimization and headshots and marketing videos that you can use to your benefit. So that's what we do at Warrior Rising. And for me, it was all about, hey, how can I give back? How can I do more? How can I continue to serve? And I found that I get a lot of happiness from serving other people. And so, and I just wanted to do that. I wanted to help other people, inspire other people, serve other people.
All right, very good. That's great. And how this actually works? Like, how do you get these people to get to know you first place, and how do you get them the right support that they may need, like the mentorship and the funding that you were discussing?
So it's for everybody. And if you're a military veteran or an immediate family member. And so we have a pretty robust marketing campaign strategy. We're on social media quite a bit, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We have a YouTube channel, Warrior Rising. And as we're marketing this, we get people to sign up, and they have a virtual intake call, where we ask them to submit some stuff to make sure that they are who they say they are. And we ask them some questions. And then we have basically a bachelor sort of basic academy program called the Warrior Academy. And it teaches you basic business principles. It's 40 videos with homework, and you have a coaching sort of session alongside of it with a real person virtually. And it translates the military decision-making process that we've learned into a business model. And
All
so
right.
that's how it kind of helps a veteran, like, oh, I understand these concepts and these principles, and now I'm turning it into a business principle.
That's
Got it.
so cool.
I can move forward. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like this, but in this environment. I like this metaphor kind of thing because that has to be very helpful for them, right?
Yeah.
That maybe. All right, that's great. This is you say it's non-profit, so do you don't get any funding, or how do you fund these academies
So
and these
yeah, so
trainers?
it's a nonprofit. So in the States, that means that we have certain tax benefits. We're 501(c)(3). So we ask people,
Uh-huh.
could be private donors, could be foundations, could be corporations, to donate to where we're at. So
Uh-huh.
basically give us money, and then we in turn give this money to the veterans. And
Uh-huh.
the people that donate, they can write this off on their taxes, and things like that.
All right, I see. Okay, that's very good. All right, very nice. Yes, were you going to say
Oh,
something?
I was just gonna say, there's a lot of people in the States that, there's like probably 1-2% of the country, they have all the wealth,
Uh-huh.
and in order for our country to function correctly, they need to give away a lot of that wealth. We
Uh,
need to spend it. It's the economy. And so they give the money to nonprofits. They can write it off on their taxes. We in turn give it to veterans. They start their own businesses with it. They use it effectively, and everybody wins. That's kind of how it
all right,
works.
that's good. That's good. All right. So far, running this business for 8 years, right? This non-profit.
Yeah.
What was or what has been your main lessons learned that you could share with us, Jason?
Yeah, Yoshi, so many lessons, so many lessons. It's not exactly like the military, right?
Okay.
A lot of
Sure.
times in the military, you work with the people and the equipment that you have, not what you want.
Uh-huh.
You just make do with what you have. You might not have the best vehicle or weapon system, or the best people, but
Uh-huh.
you have to build those things up and optimize them, to the best
Mhm.
of your ability.
Sure.
And there's not a whole lot of complaining about that. You just accept it. You just, drive on, is kind of what they
Hmm.
say in the military. In business, in the beginning, I kind of used that mentality. I was like, okay, this is what I have. Let's make do. But eventually get to the point where, like, you know what, I don't have to do it this way. I get to select my people. I get to select my team. I get to decide who's on my team. And so when I realized that, I was like, man, like, I'm going to go after the best talent, the highest skills. I'm going to go after the people that we have the best chemistry with, the people that resonate with me. And so when I started bringing in those people and asking them right off the bat, like, prove yourself to me. Essentially, if somebody's like, hey, I'm a great fundraiser, I can raise money. Okay, you are? Let me see your resume. Okay, it says you're great. Okay, well, raise some money for me. Raise some money for me right now.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes they're like, well, I'm not going to do that. Or, hey, I can't do that. Or you give them some time and they don't do that. You're like, hey, you're not going to be a good fit here. You're
Uh,
not producing. You're not giving me any results.
uh,
Or somebody, you know, says, I want to work in marketing. Okay, great.
uh-huh.
You want to work in marketing. What are you going to do? And you find out that they don't want to work on social media except for Instagram, and they only want to work on Instagram on 3 days of the week or whatever. And they don't really care about results. They just care about, like, putting their own, like, being creative, like, that's
Yeah.
not going to work.
I sure enough, yeah. Uh-huh.
And so it's not about getting butts in seats. It's about getting the right butts in the right seats. And that's probably the biggest lesson I learned
Okay.
moving
Right,
from
that's
military to business.
in the right seat.
Yeah.
That's great, right? Yes, because you have so many choices, right? You have the freedom of choices and choose what you think is best for your guys, right? And for your people.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What about, because I'm always curious, okay, about the military because I highly respect this kind of discipline. I don't know if you know this guy. I don't know how it's called now, Loconi, I don't know, but he says something like discipline is freedom or equals to freedom.
Oh, yeah. So Jocko, yeah.
Jocko,
Discipline
Jocko.
is freedom. Yeah.
Discipline is Jocko. So it's Jason Jocko. Okay, I would remember now. So he said that, and I always believe that, and I think this creation of habits is important. And now that you have this experience of the military as well as the business and how life works, what would you say is your biggest life lesson learned, Jason?
To me, discipline, I think, is freedom.
Yeah.
Jocko talks about extreme ownership, and for us, that's a day one lesson in the special forces. They say we call it accountability. Anything your team does or fails to do is your responsibility. So that's what you learn as a commander, basically on day one. For me, what I've learned as a leader, as a person, as a husband, as a father, it's about getting comfortable being uncomfortable.
I love that.
Not complaining, just realizing that this is a tough moment and I'm going to find some joy in it. I'm going to find some humor in it, and I'm going to get comfortable with it. And the quicker I get comfortable with it, the happier and more successful I'll be. And I'll tell you a quick story. So we used to, when I was young, my parents used to take me to church, my whole family to church, and in my church, people from the congregation could stand up and speak,
Okay.
and they would give a presentation or a talk. And this one particular Sunday, there was a young man that got up and he gave a talk, and he was leaving for a mission, a religious mission, a proselytizing mission for 2 years. That's pretty traditional in my church to go somewhere for 2 years. And he was going to South America. I think he was going to Brazil,
All right, nice.
as a matter of fact. And he talked about, his life and what he's going to do. And he's so excited. And, he told some stories. And I thought to myself, this is pretty good. And he ended his talk. He said, listen, life is easy. All you have to do is obey the Lord and pray and read your scriptures, and I leaned over to my mom. I was really young at the time, and I said, hey, that was awesome. That was pretty good. And she said, she kind of looked at me with a piercing sort of mom look, and she was like, that young man is in for a rude awakening. And I said, well, why? And she said, well, life is not easy. Life is hard. And if it's not hard, you're not living life the right way. And I thought about that at the time. I didn't quite process it because I was so young, but it stuck with me as all lessons from my mom did. And when I grew up, I realized that, life is supposed to be hard. And if it's not hard, you need to make it hard. You need to accept what I call this deliberate discomfort mindset. It's always improving, always getting better. And I do a lot of, physical activity. I work out at the gym and run and do all these things. And I look at it like this. If you go to the gym and you're doing a bench press and you've got a certain amount of weight on the bench press, you're not going to continue to do that weight for the rest of your life. You're going to do that until you get tired, and then you're going to put some more weight on and more weight on. And you're going to do it until you can't do it anymore. And then you just keep putting more and more on until, you can rest. And to me, you'll see results when you do it that way. You say, hey, listen, I'm growing, I'm pushing myself, I'm getting better. I'm not just settling for mediocre. I'm not just trying to do the easy thing all the time. I'm pushing myself. And having that deliberate discomfort mindset, to me, is what I've learned post-military that is the most impactful and helps me on the daily basis become better as a husband, better as a father, better as a businessman, and better as a person.
I love it. Thank you so much. I completely agree with you with this deliberate discomfort mindset. I think I will use it with your permission.
Please do.
Yeah, because in our program we say, being comfortable with the uncomfortable and uncomfortable with the comfort, right? Because there is no growth in the comfort zone. So I think that's a very good mindset. and it's about deliberate practice, right? As you define it. So yeah, I love it, the terminology you use. Okay, great, Jason. So this Impact Revolution, okay, channel was born with the necessity that we seen about how we can redefine the business mindset. So we have more to serve and less intention or less purpose of just satisfying the economical or the profit, let's say, reasons, and more about making an impact, all right, or having something that is sustainable in the long term and take care of as many as stakeholders as possible, right? So that's kind of the ideal business mindset that we want to promote. So in that sense, what would you share to start as an entrepreneur to be able to do that?
So that's a great question. All your questions are
Thank
fantastic.
you.
I think the
Thank you.
first step is, finding out your purpose in life, because whatever you do, you need fuel. You need something to burn inside of you to keep you going when times are tough, and a lot of times we're doing things that are just sort of helping us get through the moment, or we're biding our time. We're trying to figure something out. And if you have a job, I'm not saying, and you don't love it, but you're making good money, I'm not saying you should quit your job right now. I'm saying keep that job, but really spend a lot of time thinking about what you really want to do in life, who you really want to be. First thing is, like we talked about, find out who you are. What are your values? What are you all about? I might say, hey, I'm a Green Beret. Well, that's not who I am. That's just something I did. Hey, I might say I played college football. That's not who I am. That's just something I did. Who am I? Answer that question first. Next is, what do you want to do with your life? Why do you want to do this? Because there's a million things you can do. Some people want to chase dollars. Okay, great. You want to be rich? Go for it. Some people want to find happiness in other areas, and that's okay too,
Sure.
But the difference in entrepreneurship between having a business and having a hobby is money. So the business needs to make money. At least it has to be sustainable for you to live your life the way that you want to live it. Right. So that's number one. And then as you're kind of figuring this out, right, I would say you have to identify the right people to go with you. Like you have the why now get the who. The who. Because I haven't found any business where you can really do something by yourself. You always need somebody. You always need a team. You've probably heard this. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with your team. And so I've always brought along a solid team of rock stars that fill roles that I'm not necessarily great at. Like, hey, I'm not great at these areas. I'm not super great at marketing. Well, I'm going to find a great marketing guy to join me. I'm not super great at the finances, at the books. I'm going to find a great, chief financial officer to come with me. I'm not super great at these other things. And then once we have this solid team, ideas that you might think are great, once you say them out loud and you collaborate and you speak about them with your team, you might find out that's a dumb idea. I don't want to do that anymore. Let's go in this different direction. And I've realized that in life, it's not about trophies. It's about people. It's about the journey that you take with those people. We've won championships as teams on a team before, and it's a great moment, and you're, hoisting the trophy and all that. And that's really cool. But what I noticed in the moment was when I look around and I see my friends, see my teammates, and I see them smiling and laughing and hugging, that's what it was all about. That is why I did what I did. That's why I put in that effort. That's why I sacrificed in blood and sweat. It wasn't for this piece of metal that I could hold up. It wasn't because I could say that I'm a champion. It was because the guy to my left and to my right, I did it for them.
That's beautiful. That's where you get the energy and the fuel that you were discussing before as well, right?
I think fortitude, fuel. That's what you need.
Very good. Thank you so much. I wanted to, well, we have 1 minute left. All right. So this is the last words that you may want to share. So is there anything before we go to the last question that you would like to share, Jason?
Well, first, thanks for having me. I appreciate this. I really enjoyed it, man. You're looking great. You've got a great show. You got some great
Thanks a lot.
questions. You know,
Thanks, Jason.
it was
Appreciate
fun having my son on. I apologize for that again. You know, he
Man,
kind of
that
threw
was
me off for a
beautiful.
minute.
Jack, right? No.
Yeah, Jack. We call him
Okay.
Jackie. He's 2
Jackie.
years old and he loves
Alright.
monster trucks.
Okay,
But
great.
I'll leave that before the last question.
All right, thank you. So the last question will be, Jason, if you could leave some quote or some last words in the world today, all right, what would you share with everybody?
Last words would I share with
Yes.
everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I thought about this recently too. My father, when I was 9 years old, he had a brain aneurysm, and he's always a tough guy, you know. And we were in the basement hanging shelves. I was helping him, and I went and got my mom, and they called the ambulance, and they took him to the hospital, and he actually ended up living, but at the time they said that he wasn't going to make it through the night, and so we should all say our goodbyes, you know, for the last time. And we went in one at a time, and I was the oldest, and you know, I think I went in last, and you know, he said like, this is it for me. I'm gonna die. You know, you're the man of the house. I want you to take care of your mom and your brother and your sister. And you know, the last words were, you know, life is gonna be tough, but here's the secret to life: no matter how many times you fall down, you get back up. And the faster you get back up, the more successful you'll be. And it's a pretty simple statement. It's probably something you've heard a lot of in your life. But if someone were to ask me, you know, what's the greatest lesson you've ever learned in life, I would say it was that. You know, no matter how many times you fall down, you get back up, because life is going to be hard. It's going to hit you in the face. You know, you just don't give up and you keep moving forward. And I'll leave you with that.
I love it. Thank you so much, Jason. I love it because I think it's very simple. Life is simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. You know, like the fundamentals, I believe they are very simple. It's hard to get used to and to have the courage, you know, to overcome these challenges. Thank you, Jason. It was a wonderful interview. Thanks a lot for your time, your lessons learned. It was beautiful. All right.
Oh, you're the man, Yoshi. Thank you.
Thank you, and talk to you soon. Yes.